People of the Glasshammer Massive, Armour of Contempt is now gone. That's right, in Arks of Omen, Armour of Contempt is gone. That's what we're going to talk about today and its impact on the meta going forwards. Right peeps, little shameless plug before we go on with the video. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, notifications bell in the corner over there so you know each time we release one of these videos and you don't end up missing out on all this juicy new content. And if you enjoy our content, you'd like amazing discounts off our web store, or if you just like to support the channel, then please head over to glasshammergaming.co.uk and become a member of the elite. Right, Armour of Contempt, guys. This rule was keeping so many armies in the meta and at the top of the meta, you know? Armour of Contempt was essentially every time an attack with an armor penetration characteristic of whatever, literally whatever, was allocated to a model in your army that has the Armour of Contempt rule, you worsen the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Meaning if you're getting hit, say your unit's being hit by mass AP2 damage, it would count as only being AP1, which was absolutely massive because so many of the units that were benefiting from this had good saves anyway. That's the main thing for me, because the armies that were having it, I'll just list them now, guys. Space Marines of all varieties, Grey Knights, Chaos Marines of all varieties, Adepta Sororitas, and Astra Militarum vehicles. So literally all of the armies I have listed there. If you think about it, the most iconic and prevalent data sheets in every single one of the factions I've just listed there all have a 3+ armor save or better. You don't believe me? Marines, all their Primaris data slates, all 3+ save. Terminators, 2+ save, right? Chaos Marines, exact same thing can be said for them. Grey Knights, again, Terminators, and then loads of Marines, like different kinds of Marines. Yes, I get it. You know, you have Purgation teams, Interceptor teams, Strike teams, but they're all Marines with a 3+ save. They're all in power armor, right? Then you've got Sisters. Sisters of Battle, they have power armor. They all have a 3+ save. Astra Militarum, vehicles. That's the important thing to know. For Astra Militarum, it wasn't everyone, it was just Astra Militarum vehicles. And the vehicles all have a 3+ or a 2+ save. So the fact that everything I've mentioned there has a 3+ save or better. If you were to stand on cover and gain the benefits of light cover, these units were gaining 2+ saves and then ignoring the first AP. And it wasn't just AP1 is treated as AP0, it was worse than the AP characteristic of an attack. So AP3 would go down to 2. So when you're gaining cover, then ignoring the first AP of someone's attack, the second AP of their takes you back to a normal save. So essentially, before, cover was very important because it would kind of give you that slight extra protection, whereas now it just meant armies that use AP1 and AP2 mainly, predominantly, might as well shelve them for a couple of months because of the fact that, okay, I'm standing on cover, that gives me a save. Then your first AP is ignored and your second AP takes my cover away and puts me back to my normal save. So 2 of your AP mean nothing. I still get my 3+ or 2+ armor save against -2 weaponry. And I just think what it did was it knocked too many armies out the meta. That's what I want to talk about, because the thing is there, guys, I was not against Armour of Contempt. I actually liked Armour of Contempt coming in because a lot of other armies in the game got buffs and they got a lot killier. By that I mean like Harlequins. Harlequins punch very hard with the amount of shooting they can accumulate together with how many boats full of fusions and neuro disruptors they have. Plus their combat is also very good. Now, if you take it to the fact that Harlequins are killier, Tau are killier, all of these things got very, very killy. And then Armour of Contempt units like Marines and stuff, because they gained that rule, they didn't really gain any other buffs. So with those other armies getting killier, giving these ones Armour of Contempt was kind of keeping them in the meta. Now that it's gone, what are we going to see? So there's 2 main things we're going to see. Some things are going to come back and some things are going to be gone. So who's the biggest loser out of all the armies that had Armour of Contempt and now are losing it? Well, the answer to that is Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns are the biggest loser because Armour of Contempt was helping them the same as it was helping everyone else. Okay. However, they also lost a secondary in the Arks of Omen book. They lost Wrath of Magnus, which was a very, very cool one because it let you play passively. Now, Armour of Contempt armies that can play passively become twice as hard to shift and very good. But they've lost both of those, Armour of Contempt and their passive secondary. So Thousand Suns have come out of this as the big loser. What about the big winner? Marines. Marines of all varieties, not just standard Marines, just all Marines, Space Wolves, Blood Angels. They've all come out very, very well in this because it might look like Armour of Contempt was the thing that was making them survive. So when they lose it, how are they coming out very good? Well, they gained two incredible buffs as well. The first one being that if you hold an objective with a troops unit from a Marine army, that objective is now a sticky one. It remains under your control until the end of any phase where your opponent comes and steals that objective. Meaning you can now move off your objectives and they will remain yours until your opponent can get them. That's very important for late game scoring. So Marines got that buff. And their other buff is the way that their doctrines work now. You can choose to stay in the Devastator doctrine all game. So if you've got loads of heavy weapons, you'll choose to stay in the Devastator doctrine. If you've got loads of, tactical rapid fire assault weapons, then from turn 2, you'll change into tactical and stay there the whole game. You're not forced to change now. So you can go into the doctrine where most of your army has the weapons that benefit from that doctrine's ability, and you can just stay in that one for the whole game, meaning your damage has been increased. So Marines are more killy. Their armor penetration improves by 1 in a doctrine, and now you can stay in that doctrine. So they're permanently improved by 1, and now all the other armies that had Armour of Contempt that have lost it, now don't ignore your first one. So you've essentially gained 2 AP as a Marine player, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And the last thing is, which armies kind of were phased out when Armour of Contempt was introduced because they just weren't doing the damage and will now be back? Right, let's break that down for you. So there's a couple. I think Necrons of a different variety will now be back because what we saw with Armour of Contempt coming out, a lot of Necron players went, I can't really kill Marines very well because all of my guns are like AP 1 and 2 on what I want to use on mass. So I can't really kill Marines very well. So what am I going to do now? That's right, I'm just going to flood the board with tough units that are OBSEC and can play the mission very well and not concentrate on killing them. I'll just outscore them. Whereas now, Necron players will have more of an option because those Gorse Reapers the Warriors were taking and teleporting Veil of Darknessing around the board and putting out like higher volume of shots but at only AP 1 or 2, those will be back now because AP 2 and, Necrons have stratagems which let them ignore cover. They're actually going to make a bigger impact on the scene than I think it originally seems like they will. Eldar, I think, is probably the biggest one. Out of everyone I can think about, Eldar probably has the highest amount of AP 1 and AP 2 weaponry in the game of any army. Now, they're going to make a comeback in a big way as well because Eldar were kind of phasing out because their damage was going down. Then Chaos Marines were at the top of the meta now and they were very, very tough to take out. Marines, Sisters, all the same problem. However, now, Eldar with all their shurikens, Shuriken, as Dan would say, or Shuriken. It's all AP 1. So that matters now. Nobody's ignoring it anymore. And that might mean that Hail of Doom makes a comeback. Even though it's all consuming, that might make a comeback. Now that's all we got time for in this video, guys, but I'm sure there may be 1 or 2 other things that are going to come back now that Armour of Contempt is gone. And I want to hear your thoughts on it, guys. Tell me in this description, what do you think is now going to be making a comeback now that Armour of Contempt has gone away? And I will talk to you guys all in the description, all in the comments, and we'll figure it out together and everyone can learn and grow at the same rate because this book is very, very new. Right, guys, I hope you've learned a lot in this video, and I hope, loads of you are going through the comments and learning from each other as well. If you've watched this far, guys, and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, notifications bell in the bottom corner over there, so you know each time we release one of these videos and you don't miss out on all the juicy content. And if you enjoy our content, you'd like amazing discounts off our web store, or if you'd just like to support the channel, please head over to glasshammergaming.co.uk and join the elite. And I'll catch you over this weekend because you're browsing through this channel because we're dropping video after video after video. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Bye. live stream Warhammer 40k games, meta-analysis, tournament reports. Hi guys, I'm Manny. I am one of the co-founders of Glasshammer Gaming. I'm one of the current top 5 ranked ITC players in the world, and I play for my international team, Team England, and we are the current reigning world champions. So we started Glasshammer Gaming at the start because we play a very high level, and we realized that a lot of content creators online were more narrative and not really focused on the competitive aspect of the game, and we thought it'd be really cool if we made battle reports, live streams and tactics videos to help players improve in their competitive game, and also for people who are looking to start getting into competitive play, help them along the way and give them some tips. We also have an elite service, and if you join up, you get more in-depth meta-analysis, competitive tournament reports, and even bigger discounts on our store, which are incredible in the first place, and you're basically getting some of the best discounts in the world. If you join up, you also get access to our Discord server, where there are lots of like-minded people who also want to be very competitive and play to the best of their ability, and you'll be added in there with all of them. There are different channels for every army, every faction, so you can talk to other players who play the same armies as you and improve together.